So one takeaway is that we didn't care about the game, and neither did they after about 3 minutes. Second takeaway is, obviously, with any preseason game, the result itself meaningless. All you can do is look for individual performances, and even then you have to couch it with, well, who are they going against, blah, blah, blah. So Mekhi Becton, his return, lasted 7 snaps. Now, they were good snaps, but there was only 7 of them before he got hurt again and had to come off the field.
So Becton, Jets left tackle, former first rounder. Again, he as a rookie, he was the guy that ran at like 364 pounds, had one of those freak type of workouts, played better as a rookie probably than he did in college, and he's been hurt ever since.
Yeah.
And now during training camp, early in camp, he was missing practices right away, and they were celebrating the wins that were, hey, he practiced back-to-back days.
Right, but I think that was by design. Like, they were deliberately not going from 0 to 100 and throwing him right back in there, 100% participation every single day. Like, let's go. They were deliberately easing him back, as a sort of part-time transition to get back to full health. And I think it was going well. And I think this was largely precautionary as opposed to he, tore an ACL again. But point being, on a day where we're remembering Joe Thomas with 363 consecutive snaps, Becton made it 7. You're like, nah.
Sad.
There's something to that idea of your best ability is availability. If you can't make it past 7 snaps before getting hurt again and having to come out, it's not going to really work.
You're a big Frank Gore fan.
Well, and then, by contrast, DeJuan Jones, the other 400-pound monster tackle playing for the Browns, I still believe was a first-round talent and slipped in the draft because of all concerns about his attitude or his weight or whatever it is. That dude played 74 snaps.
Yeah, DeJuan Jones, fascinating prospect. He plays 74, so they're throwing him in the mix to just get some reps. Falls to pick 112 for the Browns, the 4th round. And remember, on draft night, I had, my data was saying he's probably a fringe first-round pick. Mm-hmm. A lot of other people had him as a potential first-round pick. I had mocked him to the Bengals at the back end of the first round a ton. I loved that fit.
Right tackle.
Yeah, to answer the right tackle question, which is, Jonah Williams and injured Lyle Collins and DeJuan Jones. And we get there on draft night, and Chris is in the seat. And I always love doing draft night with Chris because he does see the game. Like, you and I become a bit of an echo chamber at times. And even if we're not, even if we disagree, I at least know what your takes are. I've heard them for 2 months leading up to draft night. I'm like, all right, I know what he's going to say. Chris, you never know what he's going to say. He's like a loose cannon. You never know. So he was like, man, all the GMs I talked to were just down on DeJuan Jones.
Yeah.
And
Chris himself really liked him. Chris thought not only is DeJuan Jones a first-round talent, but he could play left tackle. We're not talking about that cliche of right tackle only. He can move. He can play left tackle at the NFL level.
Which doesn't mean anything, but,
No, but, there's still something to this idea, I think, that he was the only person I heard essentially project DeJuan Jones to the other side of the line and say, we were talking about a guy that can play on the left side as well. Everybody else is just here's your right tackle.
Yeah. So Jones played in the Hall of Fame game a lot like he did at Ohio State and a lot like he did at the Senior Bowl before he left, which is part of the reason why people were upset. He just had one good day and bounced.
Right.
81 pass blocking grade. He's a monster who moves pretty well, to your point, and he's just really difficult to get around.
Well, that's the thing. He moves well enough that his size becomes a huge obstacle. There are guys who are giant and they don't, like Daniel Faalele, right? Daniel Faalele is similar-ish size, kind of, to DeJuan Jones, but does not move well enough, so you can get around it, right? You can make him take a false step, and as soon as he takes a false step, he's so slow to re-anchor and reshift his feet, you can get all the way around him. DeJuan Jones moves well enough that you can't do that. So you're always going to have to go the long way around him. And when you're talking about a guy with the largest wingspan that's ever been measured, 370 pounds, and the size he is, it's a long way around him. And, that was an example of that in the Hall of Fame game. There are plays where you kind of have the beating of him, but you never, and he's so strong that even with one arm, full extension, he can make it really difficult for you to get clean around him. So
recovery length, I like to say, if you're not That's the reason why scouts look at arm length and various things like that is because it's like how do you win even when you're not at your best,
Right.
even when you're not in perfect position. And DeJuan Jones certainly has that because he could just stick an arm out and slow you down. Because all you have to do is slow him down 2.5 seconds, right? 2.5, 3 seconds. That's your goal. If your footwork's not perfect, you're not perfectly to your landmark. Can you win some other way? And DeJuan Jones has that.
When I watched his college tape, that really stood out was the number of plays he doesn't lose from a position that looks like he's screwed.
Yeah.
Like the guy's on his way around. All you have is an arm to stick out and try and stop this guy. And just the sheer size and strength he possesses with that arm, he stops them. Like they're not able to get through that contact. It reminds me a little bit, didn't at the time, but now does since it subsequently happened. But it's like you with the stiff arm when we're playing rugby, right? There's so much arm there, it's difficult to get past that. And that's DeJuan Jones in a nutshell.
Look, I think listen, when I stiff armed you on the way to the, what do you score in rugby?
Try.
To the try.
Yeah. Although you didn't because you spiked the ball.
It's one of those things like when you're in the moment, it felt like special and difficult, and I feel like I really achieved something. When you rewatch it and it's like two old men moving in slow motion.
Yeah, neither of us.
It looked like an old timers game.
Right.
It's less effective. However, I do believe me stiff arming you to the ground should be some sort of gif or recurring reminder here on the show. That's got to be embarrassing for you.
Yeah. No, I mean, you watch that tape and it's disgusting.
I also beat you for a 70-yard touchdown once, which also we could dig up and, have as a recurring bit.
The part
here.
there that you always leave out is that you were also eviscerated when we just flipped sides. Only the difference being, like, you weren't in tight coverage that the ball got through. Like the 1.5 graded pass from former NFL quarterback, current quarterback coach, Zach Robinson.
Yes.
Like that part you leave out, right? Was that there was a 45-yard pass or whatever on the button plus 1.5 grade. The second part you leave out is that
I ran away from you.
We're in like lockstep coverage, and then you did some ridiculous thing with your arms where they're like out here for 7 minutes, making me like play the ball too early.
It's an underused technique to bait you into slowing down.
The third part that you leave out is that when we flip sides and I was a receiver and you were in coverage, you weren't there at all, and I scored the 50-yard bomb.
Are you celebrating getting open against a 6'10", 200?
I'm just pointing out that there was a
pitcher?
difference in magnitude of the
Of
open.
course I'm not going to be able to cover you.
Yeah.
But that was your job. You were a defensive back.
Right. I covered fine.
I ran past you.
I covered perfectly until the ball arrived.
All right.
And then there was, mistakes were made.
Get back to the Hall of Fame game.
Okay, so DeJuan Jones, we've done both centers. Each one of these teams, drafted one of those centers that did not go at the top of the draft. And you're like, why are these guys falling? They're still good.
Really quick on DeJuan Jones. There's no path to the field this year. Because Jack Conklin's there. Unless Jack Conklin gets hurt again.
Which has happened.
Yeah, I'm just saying direct path. I mean, I'm assuming they're expecting him back, right?
Yeah, no, but I'm like...
But like early in
has
camp.
become a thing that happens.
No, the last couple of years,
Right.
yes, of course. I would think about DeJuan Jones actually moving to the left side, though. Jedrick Wills is in that, hey, I think he's underachieved a little bit, could break out here this year. I would think about it. But DeJuan Jones looks like he might be the best backup tackle in the league coming into this year. All right,
After 74 snaps.
After 74 snaps.
Not that we're running,
and our
away
draft
with that.
type.
So, two centers, Luke Whippler and Joe Tippmann, both played very well in that game. Both looked like they could be starting centers if the team wanted to do that. And then, of course, we have DTR.
Yes. Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Mm-hmm. After, by the way, the misery that was their starting quarterback in the game.
He's also been
Kellen
UCLA quarterback since the Flacco administration,
Yes.
DTR. Chip Kelly has not coached at UCLA without DTR as his starting quarterback. Chip Kelly's heading into like year 6 here at UCLA, or is it 7? So, yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson did a great job with his legs.
Yeah.
Just made quick decisions, got the ball out.
Threw a block.
And threw the awesome block for on a touchdown run. Your thoughts?
So, I'm in danger of having to confront a reality where DTR might not suck. And
this isn't because you're rooting against the player or anything.
No.
It's just that you are
I saw quite a lot of him.
welded to your
Well, he's a guy
priors.
that got progressively better over his 17-year college career, right? And the majority of that career I saw early on,
Yeah.
and consequently wrote him off at that point, you know? Like, you see enough of a guy early and you're like, nah, this is not going to work. I'm out. So I was out, and then he got better. And it's like, okay, but I'm still kind of out. Like, he's got a long way to go before we're at the NFL level. But I'm starting to feel a little bit about him the way I did with Jalen Hurts. Did not like Jalen Hurts coming out. And yes, he'd gotten better from being benched at Alabama to, his performance at Oklahoma, but he was still a long way away from where he needed to be in the NFL. And then you got on the NFL field, he was still a long way away, and he got better, and he keeps getting better, and he just keeps getting better and better and better, and at some point that becomes really good, right? DTR is on that pathway. Now, we still have a very long way to go, but at some point he reaches a line where I have to accept, okay, now he's actually quite good. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I'm at least aware of the possibility that I might have to confront that reality sometime in the future.
Some people jumped on that bandwagon during last season at UCLA, where it had already started to show up, right? Hey, he's better than he was 17
And obviously
years ago.
a bunch of people jumped on it after, 25 snaps in a Hall of Fame game. Oh, look, he's amazing. Now, come on. It's the Hall of Fame game. Let's not go crazy here. But
I'm in.
I am at least acknowledging that I might have to revisit that at some point.